on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Live from iRacing's virtual Crandon International Raceway, welcome sim racing fans to the finale round of the virtual off-road racing series live on Racecraft TV. Happy that all of you are joining us here on this beautiful Sunday evening for the final round of the virtual off-road racing series Pro 2 Championship. I'm your host Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jordan Hicks. And Jordan, not much else to say about Crandon, possibly the most historic off-road truck racing circuit in the world. And we're about to crown a champion out here on this course.
You know, definitely very historic, and you know, it's really known for some crazy races, so I'm excited to get it done here at Crandon.
And taking a look at those point standings, no surprise who is up at the top. It's Cameron Peterson, Josh Edmondson, the top two. You have to go a ways back to find Luke Knupp and Zachary Drapkin and Kenneth Ashlock, who round out that top five. But you can see a 71-point gap from 5th to 1st. And Edmondson sitting there in second, 13 points behind. He has an opportunity to get the win, but Cameron Peterson so dominant all season long. He is the favorite coming in to today's round here in Crandon. Field's currently working their way around the racetrack for qualifying. About 2.5 minutes remaining on that now, and as drivers continue to make their way around for qualifying, we'll grab a look at our Racecraft TV iRacing track facts. And Crandon International Raceway opened in 1984, pretty much known as the capital of off-road racing in Crandon, Wisconsin. A lot of festivities every time that off-road racing comes back to this circuit, and we're on the full circuit here today. 1.5 miles, 2.41 kilometers. Jordan, this long course is a lot different than this short version. We go from 4 turns to roughly about 8 turns here on this course. The long back straightaway into a sweeping left tight hairpin. It is going to be a tough course for these drivers to tackle.
You know, definitely, they're really gonna have to be careful at what they do, because you can come into those turns with so much speed. From what experience I have, I completely 90 and just completely stall the car. So you really gotta be focused at how you take these turns and how you keep your keep your mindset going, and just keep out and have a solid race here tonight.
And qualifying getting ready to wrap up here in about 1 minute. We'll grab a look at our Racecraft TV race analysis. 2 heats on deck today, 4 laps in each of those heats. 1 last chance qualifier, the consolation race. That'll be 4 laps with the top 3 advancing to the feature, and the top 6 are going to advance out of each of our heats. And then a 12-lap feature race with the competition caution on lap number 6. Now, it will say 18 on our scoring box, but it will be ending at lap number 12. That is where the results are going to come from, and everybody will be scored from that 12th lap out here on the track. So disregard the 18 laps. They're going to see it is a 12-lap feature through and through, and that's just going to provide even more challenges for these drivers as they try and navigate such a short feature race length. And same thing with the heats and the consolation, both of those being 4 laps. 17 drivers signed up. We are going to take 15 into the feature race to go racing here in the virtual off-road racing series. The finale round here from Crandon. The excitement is palpable, and we are getting ready to take to the grid for the first heat of the night. Getting the best out of your championship favorite in the first round of qualifying, it is Josh Edmondson. He's going to be lining up on the pole here for qualifying. Down the order from there, going into heat number 1, Luke Knupp is going to start there in P2. Keaton Swain in 3rd, Jacob Raffus in 4th, with Josh Fox and Bodie Cryer rounding out the top 6 and the first 3 rows. It's Mikey Lawrence, Jack Bruker, and Brody Center that'll be rounding out the 9 trucks ready to go green here in heat number 1 of the virtual off-road racing series. 6th round here from Crandon, and the field is getting ready for that historic land rush start, where they all will start in a complete straight line here with only 9 drivers, and they are going to get a standing start and race full speed down towards the first turn. Here we go. All 9 cars now up and on the grid. We're ready to go racing for heat number 1. And the green flag is out. We are underway in the first heat of the night. It's a good start from Edmondson way to the right side, but take a look in the middle. That is Bodie Cryer trying to get a run. Edmondson gonna come in. He slams into Cryer. To the outside goes Jack Bruker. Down to the inside goes Luke Knupp. He's looking for spots down the bottom. Knupp's gonna go into third. Bruker to second. Edmondson to first as they race through the corner. They'll complete the first lap when they come out of turn number 8. They're still beating and banging further back. Rafa's now stuck in the middle as they go through turn 7. 3 wide for a moment as they all go racing through. Look at that set esports number 13, and Rafa's down the bottom. He's looking for spots as they're still side by side further up, but it's all Josh Edmondson currently leading the way here in heat number 1 as we work our way onto lap number 2.
And you can see how hard these drivers are fighting for positions because they really want to make it to that feature. And so you really got to fight for it, because if you fall back behind that line where you can't make it into the feature, you may be upset with yourself, and you just want to prove that you can make it and maybe come out with a win in the main feature tonight.
Still side by side a little bit further back. Bodie Cryer, Luke Knupp going battling into the corner. We'll see how this is going to pan out for both of these drivers. Both incredibly fast here in these Pro 2 trucks. Jack Bruker, Keaton Swain also getting tangled up side by side a little bit further back as they will race their way back through the corners and back onto the normal short layout used here at Crandon. Take a look at Josh Edmondson, very stout at the front of this field. Got the pole heading into this heat and is currently doing an amazing job keeping that lead here at the front of the field in the number 58 Jim Beaver Esports Fistful of Bourbon Pro 2. Luke Knupp behind him and diving to the inside. That's Keaton Swain in the number 21. Down to the inside of Bodie Cryer in the 05. They go back over the jump under the Polaris RZR banner and back into turn number 8. The 21 still trying to run the outside, but take a look at that hard inside line for the 05. He's going to keep that third spot over Keaton Swain for the moment, but here comes Bodie Cryer. Sorry, here comes Keaton Swain to try and get it away from the 05 of Cryer. On board now with Cryer, as you can see Keaton Swain right there in the 21. They are currently running side by side. And pulling him is going to be that number 21 machine into the corner, but take a look at the dive. You're on board with Bodie Cryer. Jacob Raffas down the bottom in the 13. He makes contact with the 05 of Bodie Cryer. He's going to continue to fall back. One truck way off the road. That's Josh Fox for Williams Esports. He gets it back straight as he goes back through the corner. Everybody's starting to single file out. It's still Edmondson at the front of the field. It's still Knupp trying to catch up, but he goes way off track. An unfortunate mistake there for Luke Knupp. Very rare for him as well. He falls way down the order, and now he's going to have to go battling with the 24 of Jack Bruker. As Bruker goes to the bottom, Knupp going to fall one more spot down to P7.
And you know, he's really going to have to fight for it because, Josh, that's the cutoff line to make it into the main feature, and so he's really got to fight for it if he wants to prove himself in that main.
He will get that 6th spot back from Bruker as he goes back through turns number 1 and quickly over to turn 2. Take a look on the bottom. That's Bodie Cryer. A little bit of contact between the two. That's going to send Knupp into the grass. He's trying to save it. Almost makes contact with the 05 again, but as they slide their way through, it will be Cryer keeping on to that top 5. It will be Knupp continuing to fight for the transfer in 6th. Here comes Jack Bruker from 7th. He wants that spot. He's looking at that spot. How gutsy is he willing to get this early on? We'll have 2 laps to go when they come across the line. This is the bottom of the transfer. It's within 2/10. You can see the 77 of Knupp right in front of the 24 of Bruker. Down the hill they go, over the one jump, over the second as they turn into the hard sweeping left-hander. Counter steering over to the right, drifting through the corner, losing a bit of time to Cryer. Is he going to go for a dive up the inside? You can see the 05 in front of him. He wants that 6th spot as Canup got by Cryer. That puts Cryer in the 05 into the transfer. Here comes Brooker to try and get it. Just not close enough. Still only within about a half truck length as he tries to go back to the outside. And as he goes back to the outside, doesn't look like that's going to be enough. And he'll continue to fight for the transfer, but that gap is starting to grow as the 24 still running behind the 05. That's the 85 of Mikey Lawrence and the Lawrence equipment number 85 back here in 8th. He's looking to gain a couple of more spots. He's already gained 1 on the day from where he started. But he wants that transfer. Look at the send to the bottom for Jack Brooker in the 24. Is it going to stick? Doesn't look like it does. A great run for Bodie Cryer on the outside. He's going to stay in 6th. So 2 to go at the line. Field starting to single file their way out. This is still the battle for the transfer. Cryer has it and is trying to ultimately hold on to it. As we look back from the 05, there is the 24 of Jack Brooker that is trying to take the 6th and final transfer spot away. He's got a mirror full of Mikey Lawrence, however, as Lawrence continues to dive to the bottom. We go to the final lap here as Edmondson will take the white flag. Drifting through the corner is Cryer, but Brooker just not able to get close enough. 1 more lap to settle it. Cuts right back to the left, right back to the right. Sweeping corners here at Crandon as they race back down the lawn, back straightaway. Other close gap is Luke Canup to Josh Fox. Canup trying to take that spot away from the number 12 Williams Esports machine. Josh Fox has raced in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, trying to now make his way into the off-road truck scene and doing an amazing job of it as he is an amazing dirt road driver. Canup makes the dive to the bottom. You can see that suspension almost bottoming out there. He slams down on the ground, slams right back up. That's going to keep him in P5, but at the line, it'll be Josh Edmondson in the 58 that is going to come under the Polaris RZR banner through the final corner. And it will be all Josh Edmondson in the 58 that is going to take the heat number 1 victory here from Crandon. It's Keaton Swain that's going to walk away with the 2nd spot. Jacob Raffison 3rd. Josh Fox 4th. Luke Canup comes home 5th. Bodie Cryer able to take the final transfer in the 6th spot. That concludes heat number 1. We'll take a look at your full heat number 1 results as we get ready for heat number 2. It's Josh Edmondson getting the win. There you can see Keaton Swain in 2nd. Raffus, Fox, Canup, and Cryer round out the drivers who will be making their way automatically into the feature. Everybody else without a guaranteed spot in the feature, they'll have to race out of the consolation. And we are already going green here for the 2nd heat of the day. As they'll race down into the corner, it's Cameron Peterson that leads the field into the corner. They race through for the first time through the middle. Take a look at Gary Green in the 920. He's going to grab the early lead as they race under the Red Bull banner. Falling a bit of positions, it's the 48 of Cameron Peterson. He'll have to fight in that General Tire, number 48 on the top side. Contact made, Tyson Miller around. Damage for the 90.
And I'm curious to know if he made contact with anybody because he completely went straight into the wall. So definitely not what the 90 wanted here at not even on lap 1 basically, and so he's gonna have to fight back if he wants to make it up into the feature.
Continuing to race through heat number 2, here comes Cameron Peterson, touted as one of the best off-road racers in all of iRacing, and you can see why. He's right on that back bumper, the 920 of Gary Green. He's your current points leader. looking to hold on to that points lead, and right now showing why he has that points lead is he'll go side by side with Gary Green into the corner. He goes sliding through, and Peterson is gonna make it stick. He'll take the lead, albeit for a moment. Here comes Gary Green to try and fight back in the 920. They're side by side down the straightaway into the right-hander. Give that advantage to Peterson. Gary Green's not giving up there on the outside line. It'll quickly turn back to inside. They fly over the jumps, fly into the Red Bull banner, give the lead back to Green as he slides in front of Peterson, but the crossover move is successful. Here comes Peterson back to the lead. A tango out here on the track right now as they continue to race through. They'll go on at lap number 2 here of 5. And Peterson now with the lead, but Gary Green not letting him go. Can Gary Green look for a heat win against Cameron Peterson, the current points leader? Position swapping further back. It looks like Christopher Plumley losing a spot to Cole Ashlock. And they are continuing to fight here closer towards the back as they work their way onto the back straightaway, side by side now. That's the 4 of Cole Ashlock. Looking to look like the inside now, as he'll dive to the bottom of the 04. That's Cody Meadows, and Meadows goes around.
And that's the thing about these Pro 2s, Josh, is that they really can spin themselves around completely in a matter of seconds, and you see it from the, I believe that's the 04, and so it's not what you want at all, which is personally why I don't really race the Pro 2s, because they do that, and I prefer more control over it, but he's going to have to put up a fight if he wants to make it back up, but he's got a very stacked field ahead of him.
He certainly does, and is trying to work his way back up the field. He's currently outside of a transfer spot now in the top 6. Plumley currently has that spot as we race our way now through lap number 2 and going on to lap number 3 here of the second heat of the day. And it's all Cameron Peterson out in front. Not shocked about this one either. Coming in as the points leader. He is so dominant. It's him and Josh Edmondson that really go just tangoing throughout this entire season. So it makes it no surprise, Jordan, to see Cameron Peterson up in front. I mean, you can see by the speed he's carrying through this track. A 1:19.006, or sorry, a 1:19.066, his fastest time of the race, and that is roughly about 2/10 faster than anybody else in this field. Closest driver is James Ambrosius, currently fighting from 3rd.
You know, definitely, it seems like he's getting faster and faster every single lap, but I'm really looking forward to, hopefully I don't jinx him at all, but I'm looking forward to him and Edmondson go head-to-head in the main feature, because it's going to be such a tight race that you're barely going to be able to tell who's really in the lead.
In one of the first races of the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series, it was at Crandon Short, and it was a side-by-side battle between Edmondson and Peterson all the way to the finish, and it was Cameron Peterson who was victorious. And Peterson slightly more victorious, a little bit more than the Josh Edmondson machine, but both of them go side-by-side battling whenever they can here in these off-road trucks, as we have 2 to go now here in heat number 2. Christopher Plumley trying to get a spot back on Cole Ashlock as he'll go to the bottom. And we go on board with the number 36 of Plumley. Will he make a dive to the inside here in the tight night hairpin? He looked like he did, but he slides out. He's going to lose a ton of time to Cole Ashlock in front of him as they race down the straightaway. Jordan, you mentioned it, the struggles of racing these Pro 2 trucks. We just saw it there from Christopher Plumley. If you dive it too far into the bottom of a corner to try and get around a truck, you don't have four-wheel drive to save you and get that momentum back going. You only have the 2 rear tires that have power under them. So you really need to be smart about how much you're drifting into these corners, because it's a lot more difficult to make that speed back up.
Definitely, and I would say 100% throttle control would be a key factor in that too, because you can't just go into a corner full send and full throttle it, because you'll just completely spin out depending on how much control you have on the car. So like you said, you really have to be smart about it and have a very strict mindset going into those turns, especially in these Pro 2s.
Final lap here in heat number 2 from Crandon. All Cameron Peterson up in front. James Ambrosius is right on the back bumper of Gary Green, looking for the spot. He'll dive, going down into the hairpin. Can he make it stick in the 14? Contact made, and around goes Ambrosius. He slid out a little bit too much, and that led to door contact for the number 14. He'll fall, not fall enough to go out of that transfer spot, but he is going to fall down into P number 4. Disaster for the 14 machine of Ambrosius, and a pass made here further back. Christopher Plumley on Cole Ashlock. Look at that send going through the corner. Down back to the bottom goes Cole Ashlock in the 4. They'll go side by side, but as they work their way through the final couple of corners, back under the Polaris RZR banner and back to the start-finish line, it is all Cameron Peterson getting the win here in heat number 2. 1 for Edmondson, 1 for Peterson. Green will come home in P number 2 as Ambrosius, that I believe got the spot there. No, Greg Johnson grabbing 3rd, Ambrosius in 4th with Cole Ashlock rounding out those top 5 spots. So that'll conclude heat number 2. Here's your full finishing results now. It's Edmondson, Swain, Raffus. Oh, sorry, that is from heat number 1. We'll transfer over to heat number 2 now. There we go. Cameron Peterson getting the win. Gary Green in 2nd. Greg Johnson, James Ambrosius, and Cole Ashlock rounding out that top 5. Plumley rounds out the 6 trucks, excuse me. That'll be heading into the feature. Meadows and Miller will be heading into the consolation that we are ready to go racing in now. And as we take a look at this starting grid here for the consolation, it's Bruker, Meadows, Lawrence, Miller, and Brody Center ready to go green flag racing, and we are now underway here from Crandon. Racing down, 4 trucks racing into the corner, and it's Bruker ahead of Tyson Miller, of Cody Meadows, and of Brody Center. And a great start there here in the LCQ for Jack Bruker, as he gets a great start out in front. Tyson Miller there diving to the bottom, looking for that 2nd spot. He is not going to be successful heading into the corner. Will he be successful going through the corner here in the LCQ? It looks like he is going to be somewhat successful, as he'll pull up side by side, get that nose in front of your leader, Jack Bruker, but to the corner, the story could change as the 24 rolls the bottom. Bruker still side by side with Tyson Miller holding in as that number 90, as he is going to officially clear the 24 for the lead as they head into turn 2 here on lap 1. Swinging it right back over to the left. Tyson Miller now with the lead as he is trying to pull away from this 3-car battle up at the front and battle for first. The 24 making another look down to the bottom. And he lost a ton of time there. Here comes Cody Meadows now to try and fight from 3rd. Remember, it's the top 3 that advance to the feature, so right now Brody Center is going to be out of this race if he doesn't work his way a little bit closer up to Cody Meadows. It is currently a 3-second interval, so it looks like that is going to be day done for Brody Center, unless a mistake is made from one of the drivers here at the front of the field. But Tyson Miller holding the lead here in the LCQ. We'll have 4 to go here at the line. And Jordan, we did see a track reset there, and we are going to see another track reset in the warm-up before the feature, the 3-minute warm-up that we are going to have. So we'll see that track state change again to 2% clean, and that is going to be a different challenge for these drivers. We did not have one from qualifying to heat number 1 and from heat number 1 to heat number 2, so that track got really worn out. This is fresh, and it's going to be fresh when they go into the warm-up. So these drivers are going to be dealing with pretty much a brand new track state as they race through here in the Consolation and in the feature.
You know, definitely. So it's going to lead for an interesting race because no one really knows what the track's going to hold and what things they can figure out about it, because, you know, you may find a line that you never noticed that was not there, and maybe say you're in heat 1, and so it'll be interesting to see how the drivers handle it going into that main.
Tyson Miller still leading the way here in the Consolation of the Last Chance Qualifier. Remember, the top 3 will be advancing, so if you can see their name up on the top of our timing tower, then they are going to be advancing into the feature race. Or sorry, top 4 are going to advance to the feature. So we will see Brody Center there in the feature. The subjects, the orders were subject to change, and that is one of the reasons why, based on field size. So looks like we'll see everybody but Mikey Lawrence that will be competing in the feature race here from Crandon. 3 to go now here in the LCQ. Gaps are roughly about 1.9 seconds in between everybody now, about 2 seconds in between each and every one of these trucks. So we stay focused on Tyson Miller and stay previewing for our feature race that we're going to see after a 3-minute warm-up coming up here at the end of the LCQ. Cody Meadows, the 04 Rockstar Pro 2 truck, trying to hold on for a good 3rd place finish, although he did start in P2. And Bruker was able to make a pass on him in the 24 to move up into P2. But Tyson Miller out in front. Will be 2 to go now here at the start-finish line. Jordan, speaking of that clean track state, it does look like it is helping these drivers get a little bit more grip, because we talk about these Pro 2 trucks, we talk about the lack of grip. Obviously, 4-wheel drive going to be a lot better than 2-wheel drive in the grip department, so not to say the drivers are always struggling for grip, but they are a little bit more slidey, and they do take a little bit more finesse and a little bit more momentum to keep that grip under them. With this clean track state, going to help them a little bit more, but towards the end of that feature, they are going to be dealing with a worn track state, as though it'll be the only time they have all 15 trucks on the track at once.
You know, definitely. So that's going to change how the end of that race is going to look, and I really noticed in these cars, you really have to fight that wheel if you really, really want to get it to actually turn, and so it's really interesting because these drivers are completely making it look easier than it really looks, personally, and so really, really looking forward to see how these drivers end off and who places who, and it's just really interesting.
You can see the last lap, the best lap for Tyson Miller here in the 90 as he works his way through this final corner. He'll take the white flag here in the LCQ. Tyson the Terminator Miller taking the white flag here in the LCQ. Looking for an easy victory here and working his way into the feature race tonight. Once again, we have a 3-minute warm-up coming up, and then we'll be right back for green flag action in the feature race here tonight. Through the final hairpin goes the number 90 of Tyson Miller, and he will work his way through turn number 5, 6, 7, and down to 8. For a walk-off victory here in the Consolation, the Last Chance Qualifier, and starting in 3rd, the Land Rush start, and goes to show how that the standings start in the Land Rush, where everybody starts side by side with one another, gives an opportunity for the drivers starting a little bit further back, even though I wouldn't really call 3rd out of a 4-car field, really further back, but a great effort from Tyson Miller here in the 90, and as he works his way under the Polaris RZR bridge, and into turn number 8. It is a walk-off consolation victory for Tyson Miller in the 90. He's going to walk away with this LCQ win. So with that, all 4 drivers are going to work their way across the start-finish line, and we're going to take a look at your finishing results here for the LCQ. And as the field gets ready to work their way into the warm-up for the feature, it's Miller, Bruker, Meadows, and Center how they finished here in the LCQ. And we are now getting ready to go green in the feature. That's coming up in just about 3 minutes. We will take a quick break here on Racecraft TV, but when we come back, it's feature race time in the virtual off-road racing series. So don't go anywhere. It's more virtual off-road racing series action live on Racecraft TV. Welcome back to the virtual Crandon International Raceway. You're watching coverage of the virtual off-road racing series finale here from the Crandon International Raceway. Joshua Lee, Jordan X back with you here in the booth as we get ready to go feature racing here from virtual Crandon. Ready to finish up the warm-up and get into the feature race action here in just about 10 seconds. Jordan, it's Edmondson versus Peterson in the championship and here in the feature as well. Who's your money on?
You know, they're both pretty fast, but I have to definitely go with Cameron Peterson because he's so quick with what he was doing, but you can't underestimate Edmondson because he's fast as well, so it's going to be an interesting race.
And we will see who is going to be victorious. Well, real quick, take a look at your sim weather here. Generic iRacing sim weather, track temperature 83 degrees. That doesn't matter much here on dirt. 75%, 75 on the air temp. It is clear skies here in virtual Crandon. Let's take a look at your starting grid here for the feature race from Crandon. And it is Josh Edmondson. That starts on the pole. It's Cameron Peterson to his outside. Then it's Keaton Swain, Gary Green, Jacob Raffas, Greg Johnson running out that top 6. Josh Fox, James Ambrosius, Luke Canup, Cole Ashlock, Bodie Cryer, and Christopher Plumley rounding out the top 12. All the way down to the top 16 that'll be taking the green here in the feature. It's Tyson Miller, Jack Bruker, Cody Meadows, and Brody Center. ready for the feature here at Crandon, and we are underway for the land rush start. It's a bad start for Josh Edmondson. He gets way slowed up on the start, but everybody else racing into turn number 1. Who's gonna get there first? Greg Johnson from P6. Looks like he has the jump. Everybody fighting through the corner. Everybody bouncing off of each other. 4 wide, 5 wide as they go over the jump. Peterson is into the wall. The 48 of Cameron Peterson, your points leader, is off. The 48 with damage. An unbelievable circumstance to start the finale. Your points leader is off and damaged on the first lap of the race. We stay racing up front. Everybody now gonna race into turn number 8 to go into lap number 1. Take a look at Edmondson now here in the middle. He might have an opportunity for the points win. He goes across the start finish line. He works his way back up to 4th. He lost the lead with a bad start on the land rush. He's back up into P4, but it's all Greg Johnson out in front. Meadows in second as they race through the corner. But Peterson, with a ton of damage to that number 48. He's going to try and go on a salvage drive now, trying to get by Brody Center in the 15. We'll take a look at a Racecraft TV replay and see just exactly what happened here to the 48. We'll go back all the way to the start. This is a replay of the land rush start. There's the green flag. You can see Edmondson in the 58 getting a bad start there on the right side. And they all race through the land rush. We'll now go focusing on Cameron Peterson. He was up towards the front. Josh Fox gets into contact. He gets into the 48. They're all bouncing off of each other. And then the 48 just gets slammed by the 14, slams the wall. And that was it for the 14 and Cameron Peterson. That puts him now down to P11 as the recovery drive is now in full effect for this team, trying to get back up to the front. But speaking of up front, it's Josh Edmondson on lap number 2 that is going to retake the lead ahead of Swain and ahead of Meadows as they work their way through turn 3 down into 4. Edmondson with an amazing recovery off of that first start bobble, but he has a long way to go if he wants to hold off Keaton Swain. Cody Meadows, your top 3. Peterson trying to fight from 11th as they race on lap number 2. Jordan, disaster at the start of this race and more disaster further back. Who's that into the wall? That's Greg Johnson.
You know, that's actually the leader from what we had before, and so a lot of big upsets going on here tonight. You can see the 48 of Peterson just destroyed back there, but definitely an interesting race so far as we're about to go on lap 3, I believe, and so a lot's happening so far. I'm excited to see what's to come.
Peterson fell back to 14th again. Wondering if this 48 might be having some more internal issues. That's not just that hood damage that you can see off the front of the number 48. But as he works his way, trying to work his way around Christopher Plumlee, he loses another spot. He's going into the pits. So the 48 into the pit lane. I do not know if they have a fast repair available. I guess we are going to see they do. So the 48 is going to take that fast repair. But Jordan, this is going to put him all the way down the order to P15 and multiple seconds back. Rafus is now going to get in front of him as well. Or Rafus is 1 lap down, excuse me, so he won't. But look at this, the long pit stop, changing tires for the 48 as well. He might have forgotten to take those off. He just wanted that fast repair, 24.8 in the box. But he is now, from Josh Edmondson, the gap to the leader, 45 seconds, and still continuing to grow. This could be a disastrous finale for Cameron Peterson, and we might be looking at a championship for Josh Edmondson, depending on how the points work out.
You know, definitely, as we were talking, he was trying to make his way back up to the field, but then he just went in the pits, which is probably a smart thing because I sort of noticed his truck wasn't, it didn't seem like it was running at 100% like it should normally, and so it's probably the smartest thing he could do, but he's really got to be careful now because he has no fast repair, and so he's just got to keep it nice and clean and try and make up those 45 seconds because he doesn't have the longest amount of time, and so if he's gonna do something, he's got to do it pretty quick.
So it does look like, as of right now, that will be Edmondson in the lead of this race and the lead of the points championship. Waiting to see what happens with Cameron Peterson. Waiting to see what happens with the official review. Also waiting to see what happens if any penalties are applied or any protests post-race. So the championship will be unofficial when we go offline here on Racecraft TV. But it looks like as of now, Edmondson might have been gifted a championship if Peterson cannot catch up. It's a 27-second interval as getting off track and hard contact. Up and over goes the 04. That's Cody Meadows. More disaster for more trucks in this field. The 04 goes flipping. We'll grab a Racecraft TV replay. And it looks like Luke Knupp down to the bottom. Meadows had already gotten a mistake there. And then here comes, that looks like Josh Fox he made contact with and hard into Luke Knupp, and that sent him right on over. A nice pirouette though, Jordan. I'd give him about a 9.75 for that one.
You know, definitely really clean and didn't even touch the body on that second rotation, but you know, it's definitely going to hurt him within where he was sitting in position-wise, and so he's really got to make up some time if he wants to catch back up to where he was.
So Edmondson leads the way. It's Swain in P2 with Ambrosius in third. Battle going on back here for fifth. It's Josh Fox trying to catch up to Cole Ashlock. In the middle of this fight as well, Luke Knupp here in the 77. And they'll race their way through the corner. Look at that move to the outside. The 4 of Cole Ashlock with a great run through the outside of that sweeping right-hander. Put Ashlock up into P5. Highest he's been up all day in the number 4 machine. Up 5 spots from where he started the day as well here in the feature. Christopher Plumley gonna go on by Cody Meadows. The 36 car, also the highest he's been up here in the feature. So the caution will be coming out on this lap right as Edmondson. And it looks like the competition caution is out right now. So this is the competition caution that we were expecting. So they will be under an admin caution here for, I believe, roughly about 1 lap. And we are going to be going back to racing on to finish out this feature race. Remember, it says 18 on the scoring box, but we will be finishing at lap number 12. And they are going to go green out of turn number 1 here on this next lap, lap number 7. So, Jordan, this is going to bunch everybody back up, and I can only wonder what the plan is for Cameron Peterson. You can see just how far back he is. We're under the competition caution now. We went under it about 25 seconds ago. He's just now crossing through turn number 1 to catch up to the pacing field. That is how far back Cameron Peterson was after that pit stop. But now that he has everybody bunched up in front of him, we could see one of the best recovery drives from Cameron Peterson ever.
And you know, definitely it'll be mind-blowing to see him do it, but he's really got to make sure he makes it through this start, because he just completely got shot off to the right and completely into the wall. But Josh, I feel like he can do it. He's starting from the back. It gives him a little bit of a boost to actually catch up and not have to really work up the big amount of time, which is really intimidating, because you see 45 seconds like behind you, just it's really not the thing you want to look for, and so it gives him a fresh mindset and a good chase to go green. And here we go.
Green flag returns here in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 2 Championship, and they dive into turn number 7. It's Edmondson in the lead, and he's able to keep it. It's Swain in second as they race through the corner. It looks like Swain's going to hold on to P2. Ambrosius going to hold on to P3. Cameron Peterson up to P12 off of that start. A dynamite beginning here to the second half of the feature for Cameron Peterson in the 48. The bunching up the field helped him. Did it help him enough? Can he walk away with this championship? Now, speaking of the championship, when they came into this race, the finale here in Crandon, as this point standings were, it was 13 points separating Edmondson and Peterson. So it looks like Peterson, especially with this dive to the bottom of Brooker looking for 11th, he will take over that spot. Peterson might be in a position now where he's back in the points lead. Of course, waiting for official review, waiting for protests to come in if they do. But unofficially, looks like right now Cameron Peterson is right back up into the points lead. Can he continue to fight his way up through the field? Maybe rival for a top 5? There he goes, rivaling for a top 10 as he goes by Greg Johnson in the 50. But it's still Edmondson out in front. They'll go on to lap number 8. It'll be 5 laps to go. We are cutting the race at lap number 12. So across the line, Swain trying to catch up, just doesn't look like he can get close enough to be able to make a move on Edmondson. He might have a bit of a run down into the corner here. Is it going to be enough? You're on board with Swain. Battle for the lead. Edmondson has held it now, I believe, since lap number 2. And that gap is only 2/10 as they race over the jump. A dive through the corner, sending it through turn number 6. Swain is just not close enough to be able to make that move on Edmondson. He'll stay there in P2. Four to go at the line here in the feature. Cameron Peterson makes up another spot there in the number 48. He's now up into P10 on the racetrack. Down to the bottom for P9 on Tyson Miller. Give that one to him as well. Here he comes now on to Bodie Cryer, looking for 9th place. Sorry, looking for 8th place on the racetrack is Cameron Peterson as they work their way through the corner.
He's making up a lot of ground, and he's still got a little bit of time left, so Josh, I won't be surprised if we see him get a top 5 here and end off the day with a nice feature and a great comeback after what happened at the start of this race.
You can see just how much he is fighting through each and every corner. Look at the dive to the bottom of the 05 of Bodie Cryer, trying to get that traction off the corner. Worked a little bit, did not work out for him as he will still be side by side with the 05. Diving into the right-hander. Peterson on the outside, trying to keep that spot. It will keep his real estate there on the outside line. Diving back to the bottom. He's going to take over that spot from Bodie Cryer coming over the jump. So now into turn number 6. That puts Peterson to 8th. Ashlock now in 7th. His next target that he is looking at to start marching his way back up through the field. Through the final corner. Edmondson across the start-finish line. 3 laps to go here in the feature. We go back to Cameron Peterson. This is the longest gap that he has had so far in his fight back up to the front. As you can see, the gap between himself and Cole Ashlock about 1.2 seconds right now on the track. So he continues to try and fight for that. Jacob Raffus, unfortunately, out of the race. He'll be finishing in the pit lane. Meadows just made a move on Brody Center to work his way up into 14th. And it looks like Tyson Miller might be able to make a move on Bodie Cryer here for 9th. Field starting to space their way back out as it is 2 laps to go at the line here for Josh Edmondson. We will be talking to him post-race as he works his way under the Polaris RZR banner. It will be 2 to go at the line. That fistful of bourbon Jim Beaver Esports Pro 2 side-by-side battle, or was, between Cameron Peterson and Cole Ashlock. Now make that between Cameron Peterson and Josh Fox as he works his way up into P6. We could be looking at a top 5 here from Peterson. It's about a 2.8 second gap, but I think Jordan, the way he's been running here, he might be able to make that up on this lap.
You know, definitely just got to keep all of his momentum up, his head up, and just keep on making that 48 machine push, and push, because I really feel like he's going to make it up to the top 5, and you know, Josh, you never know. He could even make it top 3 depending on how he makes this lap.
Coming to the end of this lap, this will be the white flag. 18 on the scoring box. We will be cutting it at 12th. And with Cameron Peterson now sitting there in 6th, Edmondson might have had an opportunity to take that points lead, but nothing he could do. He did all he could today by keeping that lead. It was Peterson in the back with a great move. Here comes Keaton Swain down to the bottom. The battle for the lead continues. Can Swain get the momentum off the corner? He sent it to the bottom. Not gonna be enough. Through the final corner and across the start-finish line, the white flag is going to come out. It'll be one final lap around the Crandon International Raceway for this season of the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 2 Championship. Edmondson looking to walk away with the win. It's Swain in second, looking to deny him. Peterson not able to make up much momentum onto the driver in front of him for P5. Will stay on the battle for the lead. What is Swain going to do as he dives into the corner? He makes a huge move, side by side. The gap about 2/10. Edmondson able to pull him down the straightaway. Can Swain make any last-minute efforts to walk away with a win here in the finale round? He goes to the bottom. Edmondson on the outside. They are side by side for the race lead. Down the hill they go. Swain's gonna take it. What is Edmondson gonna be able to do? He dives back to the bottom. They go side by side through 7 under the Polaris RZR bridge. What is gonna happen in the final corner, turn 8? It's Keaton Swain out in front. Edmondson makes another move down to the bottom, but as the checkered flag flies with the last lap pass, it's Keaton Swain in the 21. He takes the win on the final lap of the race here in Crandon. An unbelievable run for the number 21 machine. What a finish, and what a champion for the 48 of Cameron Peterson. Waiting on the official word, but it looks like Cameron Peterson is gonna walk away with that championship. We'll take a look at your full race results here from Crandon, and what an unbelievable race. What an unbelievable feature race that was, with Keaton Swain able to grab that win over Edmondson, Brooker, Peterson, and the entire rest of the field. We enter our post-race show. We will get full interviews with your entire top 3 here in today's race, and it looks like your race winner already standing by, and it is Keaton Swain. We have him up here with us now. Keaton, congratulations on that win. Before we get to that last lap pass on Josh Edmondson, I want to talk about the beginning of that race because it looked like a consistent one from you. You got up to second really quickly. You were able to hold on. Talk about how much that race, how much that was tough for you to stay up there in second because you had a lot of fast drivers breathing down your neck and a very fast driver in front of you.
Yeah, it was definitely tough for sure. I mean, I didn't get a great start. Luckily, there's a little bit of mayhem in front of me, and I got through it and kind of just settled in and got behind Josh and followed him for a little bit. Tried to see where he was gaining on me and where he was making mistakes, and I waited for the last lap to make my move, and luckily it stuck. But it was a good race all in all. I got to thank everyone that helps me out: Plants Parts Company, Factory Sim Sport, Ultra Wheels, Butt Kicker, and everyone that puts this series on.
And the entire season has also been put together relatively well from you. You came into this race 6th in points, definitely nothing to laugh about. 9 points above Kenneth Ashlock, and it looked like a great race from you out there today to try and bump yourself up into the top 5. How is this season as a whole for you, and looking forward into the Pro 4 Championship we'll see soon, and the next time we see the Pro 2 Championship? How confident you can maybe try and make a run at that top 5 again?
Yeah, I mean, this season has its ups and downs, but all in all, it was a good season for me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next season of Pro 2 and the new season for Pro 4. I think we got some speed for both of them, so I'm looking forward to it.
And thank you so much for joining us here post-race, Keaton. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Good to hear from Keaton Swain, race winner here from Crandon, and we move over to second place, Josh Edmondson. Josh, it was a incredibly close one to finish out that race. Talk about the beginning as well, just really quick, because that land rush start, you were able to get a good, not the best start. You went a little bit further down, but you got that lead quick, and it was almost all said and done up until that final lap.
Yeah, I gridded a little late and wasn't ready for it to just go green that quick. I was totally sleeping on the start. So that hurt me a lot right there. And then there was a lot of chaos out of turn 1. I'm pretty sure most of us left there with damage, but I definitely had some front end damage there, maybe slowing me down a little bit on the straights, but it still handled fine. So we were good. I got lucky to get out front, but man, Keaton was just faster. I couldn't keep him behind me.
And talk about this season as a whole, because actually, first of all, I want to talk about Cameron Peterson having that issue on the first lap. What was the reaction seeing Cameron way down the order and suddenly thinking, oh, I might actually have a shot at the championship here today instead of just a Cameron Peterson walk-off?
Yeah, no, it definitely crossed my mind, because I knew if he got, I think it was like 10th or 11th, and I won, that I could technically win the championship. So I knew it was a possibility, but for him not to come back within the top 10 is also, pretty far stretch. So I figured as long as he didn't have to tow, he was probably all right, and I just needed to focus on trying to win the race. So I tried to do that, but yeah, it was an awesome season overall. Got a win, almost had another one there. Congrats to my teammate Cam for getting the championship. He's definitely super solid when it comes to these trucks. So hard to beat him.
And looking forward, obviously, Pro 4 Championship on the horizon. We have a Rallycross season on the horizon and another Pro 2 Championship, of course, coming up for Virtual Off-Road Racing Series. So a lot of dirt road action coming up here on Racecraft TV. I know you're going to be competing in all of it. How much are you looking forward to that and really just expanding the dirt road league scene here on iRacing? Because dirt road, although it's not as large as the road scene or as the oval scene, it is a dedicated scene of the iRacing community.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the best community. We got some of the best members, and it's some of the most fun racing. In my opinion, it's the most fun. You get door-to-door action like that, Keaton and I, and you get to actually slam some doors. That's a lot of fun. And then yeah, I'm trying my hand at Rallycross here. We'll see if I can make it into the World Championship. Sitting a few spots out of it right now, but looking forward to getting better in those cars as well. And yeah, hopefully growing this community. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you very much for joining us here post-race. Josh, congratulations on that second place.
Thanks, man.
Good to hear from Josh Edmondson, second place finisher here from Virtual Crandon, and we transition over to your third place finisher. I believe that being James Ambrosius. So we bring him up here into the commentary box now. James, third place finisher here from Crandon, and you saw a lot of carnage happening in front of you. Of course, just talk us through that race. How was that from behind the wheel to number 14?
Yeah, first of all, the race in front of me was excellent. I mean, watching Keaton and Josh duel it out, man, those guys were on another level tonight. It was a lot of fun to watch it from my point of view, and I could see Fireworks were about to happen on that last lap, but early on it was, like you said, a lot of carnage, just trying to hang on. Honestly, if you lift early on, you go to the back. At that point, I just figured I'd keep the throttle to the floor and hang on. So.
And going out through that race, it was a lot of battling, of course, throughout the entire field. How confident were you in your truck and your performance through the heats, through practice, that you could come into this finale round and walk away with a good finish that you ended up walking away with?
Yeah, honestly, you can never assume that it's going to be easy or anything like that. I was just talking with Josh in the waiting room, and a pace that was extremely fast a month ago barely puts you in the top 5 now. So it's the entire level of competition is slowly increasing as we put in more time across the board.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Racecraft TV, and congratulations on your 3rd place, James.
Thanks, Shesh.
Good to hear from your 3rd place finisher, James Ambrosius. And now we are going to transition over to your champion of the virtual off-road racing series Pro 2 Championship. And we'll be bringing him in here in a moment. Once again, unofficial champion, of course, waiting on any protests that might come through and waiting on any final word from any of the league admins. But bringing in your unofficial provisional champion, it is Cameron Peterson in the number 48, your virtual off-road racing series Pro 2 champion. Cameron, talk about this season as a whole, because you had to put every single race together to be able to walk away with this championship. We'll get to today's race in a moment, but how was this season as a whole for you and for this team?
I think the biggest thing was that there was no EOLs this year. Last year we had the top 3 in points have EOLs. This year we opted for heat racing and points for qualifying. So it was all about just consistency now. There's not much traffic to get through if you're starting at the front. So, just hit the marks, tinker with setups here and there, and try to just make the most out of every single scenario. And just if someone's making mistakes in front of you or behind you, then just use that to your advantage the best you can. And just stay smooth, stay calm, and just stay consistent.
We saw you rally your way through the field after lap 1 contact, leading to a hard incident into the wall. How difficult was the drive today? Because you came into the pits, you got that fast repair, you knew you had the competition caution on the horizon that would bunch everybody back up, and then once that competition caution went back green, you worked your way all the way up to 6th place. How was the race today from your perspective, and does this give you confidence knowing that even if you look like you're down and out, that you can go race close up for a top 5?
Today's race, it was pretty rough. The starting incident there, I think that was just a racing incident. I thought I knew who to blame, but I watched it back, and it was really just a racing incident. It was just a unfortunate series of events for me. Thankfully for that competition caution and a quick fix, and able to get back out there and actually put a fresh set of tires on my truck to help me out a little bit too, because might as well, why not? And just getting up there, I knew I had to come top 10. And then that restart, there was a bit more beating and banging, and cross the line with the hurt truck. But yeah, that's what happens sometimes. That's so unfamiliar, kind of sort of being back in the pack, and it just made me realize that I still have lots to learn, I think. And just still learning, still taking everything in stride, and hoping to come back even stronger next year.
Talk about this championship for you and just how much it means to win the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 2 Championship, because you are up against the best of off-road racing in iRacing, and you're able to be the best out of all of them. How much does this mean for you? How much does it mean for your team, especially going into the future of off-road racing here on the sim?
Oh, it means so much, and everyone on the Jim Beatery sports team, and Josh and Connor and all those guys, they set the bar pretty high. And as you can see today, as you've seen Josh run, and it's like no one's a slouch anymore. So I mean, like it's really tough to get out there, and yet you have to be on pace. So to win the championship, it's getting harder and harder. And yeah, it means even more than the first one, I think. So, and I know Josh is he was able to get his hands on a pretty cool first place trophy, and I'm going to be hanging that right beside my sim rig. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to the next season.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the booth, Cameron. Congratulations on your stellar drive today and your championship.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from Cameron Peterson. And Jordan, it was a exciting race top to bottom with that drive back from Cameron Peterson and that last lap pass on Josh Edmondson from Keaton Swain. What a way to end out the day.
You know, definitely. We went from crazy starts to crazy finishes. I really enjoyed it. And, you know, a perfect way to end out a season was definitely that.
And we thank you for joining us here for the season finale of the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 2 Championship, live from virtual Crandon. It's time for us to sign off here on Racecraft TV, but make sure that you give us a follow or give us a subscribe here on the Racecraft TV's YouTube channel. And make sure to hit that notification bell to get notified every time we go live for more iRacing action here on Racecraft TV. For Jordan Hicks, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for joining us for the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 2 Championship finale from virtual Crandon. And we will see you for more racing